Hi everyone, what's up? In this video, I'm going to discuss how you can become an expert in writing SQL queries. If you aspire to or are currently working for a big data project, then SQL is a must. This video will serve as a guide on how you can improve your existing SQL skills. The points I'm going to discuss in this video, I apply to my day-to-day activity as well, so I decided to share the same with you. Keep in mind, I'm not going to explain any SQL concept, but rather lay down a pathway for you on how to improve your existing skills. Also, before we move on, I had created a similar kind of video on Python DSA guide for data engineers. The link is in the description as well as on the I button. Feel free to check it out also. Now, let me show you what I'm going to cover in this video. The first is master the basics, then practice makes perfect, then learn advanced SQL, understand database design, SQL with Python. This is going to be a step-by-step guide, and after watching this, you will have a clear idea how to improve your SQL skills and what you're lacking. If you're new to the channel, then please push the subscribe button as it will help my channel grow. I post videos every week to help you clear your next interview. Also, if you found this video useful, then please click the like button and share it with your friends. Now, let's get started with the video. First up, you need to master the fundamentals. SQL is built on the foundation of simple commands. But if you already know the basic, then feel free to skip to the next part, and for the rest, follow these commands. Select is for retrieving data, from is used to specify the table name, where is used for filtering conditions, group by and order by is used to organize your result, and finally, joins is used to combine data from multiple tables. There are tons of great content on YouTube, so learn the basic SQL from YouTube only. While learning these concepts, try to take notes as much as possible and also read about the SQL order of execution, as it is a very important interview question. I'd recommend not to spend money in buying any SQL course. As I said before, learning from YouTube is enough. For practicing, I use MySQL Workbench. It is very straightforward to install and quite easy to use. In case you don't want to install MySQL Workbench or any other SQL Studio, then you can use one of these SQL online compilers. There are many more, but these three are the ones I have used. The first one is from Programmis. It is called Online Compiler. There are some sample tables also available, and whatever you learn on watching any YouTube video, you can easily practice here. This is the second one. It's called Online Compiler, and here is a sample create table and insert command. And finally, this is the third one. It's called Next Leap. All three of them work pretty good. So they are a good alternative to any, like MySQL Workbench or any SQL Management Studio. They are a very good alternative to those things. So let's move on. Once you know the basics, it's time to practice. Here are some great resources which you can use. Platforms like LeetCode, HackerRank, StatusScratch offer good SQL challenges. Let me show how I used to do it. First, start with HackerRank SQL. I have provided the link to this website in the description. Move on to the skills filter and select SQL Basic. Try solving all the SQL Basic questions. Some of them will be very easy, but it will make you feel more comfortable with the SQL environment. Then move on to LeetCode SQL 50. I've provided link to this website also in the description. So here you have to complete the first three sections, that is select, basic joins and basic aggregate functions. Here some of the questions might be a little difficult, but feel free to check out the solutions for them. Don't waste too much time on one question. The idea is you have to do as many questions as possible. Once you are done with the first three sections of SQL 50, then go over to HackerRank and this time select the SQL Intermediate button. This will filter out all the medium level questions of HackerRank SQL. So as you can see, most of them are medium and they are a little difficult than the previous questions. Complete all of them, and once you're done with this, again move back to LeetCode. This time solve the next two sections, that is sorting and grouping, and the second one is advanced select and joins. Once you're done with these two sections, again move back to HackerRank, and here finally select the SQL Advanced. I think there are only 4 questions of SQL Advanced. Try to complete all 4 of them, and once you are done with it, Again, move back to lead code, and there are two sections left in lead code, that is subqueries and advanced string functions, regex or clause. Complete all these. Once you will be done with both HackerRank and SQL, you will end up solving more than 100 questions, and that is a big practice. This is a time-taking process, and at times it might get very exhaustive also. So what I do is try to fix a time of a day which is dedicated for this particular exercise. I don't care about finishing them all at once. Remember, it's a marathon, not a race. Before starting my work, I try to solve at least 2 questions, and in between work, if I have free time, then also I take up another question. You know where to practice, and all you need is consistency. When you're comfortable with the basics, dive into advanced topics. Some areas to focus on are window functions, subqueries, common table expressions, recursive queries. This step you will have to do in parallel to practicing questions. Some of those questions which I discussed have window functions and CTE usage. So while practicing, if you encounter any of these topics in someone's solution, then that is a good time to study that topic. I have created some videos on window function. It is in the I button as well as in the description, so feel free to check that out as well. Before we move on, I'll suggest you make note of all the difficult questions. Basically those questions which you either couldn't solve or took time for you to process. Revising these questions multiple times can improve your problem solving approach towards SQL questions and scenarios. To truly excel your SQL skills, you need to understand how databases are designed. Learn about normalization, denormalization, primary, foreign keys, indexing, constraints, ER diagram, and data modeling. Data modeling and normalization is a common question asked in data engineer and data analyst interviews. Basically, if you want to design a database for, let's say, a movie ticketing system, then you should know all these concepts. In coming few days, I'll publish a video which will consist of normalization concept, denormalization, primary key, foreign key, all in one video. So make sure you subscribe. This knowledge will help you write efficient queries and design scalable systems. Geek for Geeks has a very good content on these topics. I'd suggest just read about them and make a note either in your laptop or in a notebook. I prefer a notebook as I can revise them days before my interview. Also, this is one-time activity, and once you have made notes of these concepts, all you have to do is refer them. SQL becomes even more powerful when combined with tools like Python. Use Python libraries like Pandas or SQL Alchemy to manipulate data. This is an optional step, but I would suggest after you have solved at least 50 lead code and 50 HackerRank problems, then start with SQL with Python. Both Pandas and SQL Alchemy is a bonus skill to have and looks very good on your resume. Don't jump on these two topics at once. Rather, start with Pandas first, and if time permits, then only go for SQL Alchemy. I'd recommend this playlist by Corey Schrafer. This is a very good guide, and it is useful for someone who has no idea what Pandas is. By the way, I'm also working on a Pandas short tutorial, so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. So that's it for this video. If you found it useful, then please share it with your friends and like the video. In the coming few weeks, I have planned many such videos on Pyspark and SQL interview questions, so stay tuned for them, and if you have not subscribed, then please press the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.